G'day everyone, here we are. We're going to fit the Garmin 95 UHD transducer, which now comes with this cool little mounting template. So I'll put some masking tape on that and we'll get that up there. So that arrow there needs to be at the bottom of the hull. So I've got a bracket here with about a 5mm lip. So I am going to put that in the middle. I'm going to move that down till it's under the hull. And there we are. That's pretty good there. Get the old measuring tape out, and I'm going to measure to the top of it, from there to there, and then from there to there. 60 and it's a little bit out. I'll just move that a tiny wee bit. Looks pretty good now. 60 and 60. So spot on there. A bit more tape. Right, so now we're going to center punch the two holes. One and two. Sweet. Now we're going to drill them. Transducer comes with 2 screws. Got to make sure that they don't bottom out. Just got to make sure they're not going to drill into the hull of the boat. These ones are going to be about spot on by the time we get the plastic, 4 or 5 mils of plastic from the transducer on there. So we'll go ahead and drill them. Find the right drill bit. Put them down there. Put a little one through first. Pilot hole. Then we can take the template off. Don't need that again. Step it up a little bit. It can be a little bit tricky if you're using metric drills. Most of these screws are imperial. Just match it up the best you can and just try not to go too big too fast. I'm going to go to a 3.5mm, but I'm pretty sure they are a 4mm. Drop that in. The old Phillips screwdriver. There it is. We just start it and see what it's like. Oh, that one nearly went in the drain. Get that after. And I think that's going to be way too small. So now we'll go to a 4mm. As I said, don't jump too big too quick. If it's too loose, it's no good. I'm going to strip them. Right, so that feels pretty good. I'm going to undo that now, and I'm going to put a little bit of Tef gel on it when I find it. Wherever I put it. There it is. There. So like when putting the sounder in, everything has Tef gel on it, or equivalent. Just the corrosion eliminated because we're going from stainless to alloy. But the cool thing about it is it helps lubricate the screws when you're putting them in. So then when you're doing them up, there's less chance of screwing the heads off the stainless screws. So happy with that. That's that one done. We'll go ahead and drill the second hole now. Get the screw. Bit of teeth gel. Come on out of there. So once again, just a bit on the end, just helps lubricate it all and get it in there. Hold it nice and square. And she goes. Just going to screw them all the way in, see where it bottoms out. So we're going to be good there. We're not going to screw it into the hull, or they're not going to bottom out on the hull. So let's take that out. Take the other one out, and we can put the tranny on there. There's the transducer. I've already put the bolts in, 5 screws. Pack comes with 7, and then the bolt goes through there with a stainless washer on, and then the rubber grommet or the rubber washer, and then the nut fits into a hole there. So pretty much all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver to fit that. Same screwdriver fits those bolts. Do them all up loose and then tighten them gently, tight but not too tight. Right, so we'll whip that off, cable tie off, get rid of the cable, get that out of the way. So just put them on one at a time. Busy day in the neighbourhood, there's about 4 different people mowing their lawns. So I'm just going to start that first screw. I'm just going to do it up so it's just nipped up, just so I can move that. Get the other one in. Looks like the template worked out well, the holes are all lined up. And there she is, so we can tighten that up a bit. Look, it already looks like it's pretty good. You don't want it too tight. The teeth will actually grip it, and then if something hits it, it'll bounce out of the way. This is all plastic now, but it's just as good as the stainless. I've never had one break. Quite a bit of give in it. So that's that. And then we're going to put a straight edge underneath it before we go any further. Get all these tools out of the way. So to get the old straight edge, come around the side. I'm going to put this under the hull, and I can see it's way too deep. Way too deep. It's nearly at the top of the back, and it's halfway up. So we're just going to loosen the screws off. We're going to lift it up a bit, loosen them a little bit, and we're going to lift it up to there now. Double check it, so that's all the way up. Straight edge is hard on the hull. Right, that's looking better. Put it behind the transducer, and I think we're going to come down a tiny wee bit. It's going to come in a little bit from up. There's 3 lawnmowers and an aeroplane. It's going well so far. Once again, into the hull. So we're about 10 mil in the water at the front and a little bit more at the back, which is fine. So we're going to nip that up now. We'll adjust this when we take it out in the water and make sure everything's fine. So we're going to do those up there. Tight but not too tight. Remember, it's only plastic and it's not going anywhere. A little bit more of a nip. So that's that all set up. Cable clips in here. Like everything with Garmin, it's just really, really easy. So now we're going to put the cable on. So that's the cable clip, and that's the O-ring. So we're not going to fit that yet. We're going to fit that when it gets all the way up to the cabin. So there's our cable, our plug. So we're going to drill a hole that's that size with a step drill. And we're going to drill it right up here, and we're going to feed that right up to the front, and then we're going to fit the red O-ring on there, and that 2-piece clamp there is going to go around that shoulder there and plug into the sounder. So that's that on there now. We'll get the get the old nail punch. What have I done with that? There it is. So I've already looked on the inside behind here into the pod. There's nothing in there at all that's going to get harmed if I drill a hole through it. So pretty much I've got all of this area here. So we're going to put, I'm probably going to put a clip there and there, and then it's just going to go up and through right there. So I reckon about there. I'll just get the last little packet out. So I'll put that somewhere. Can't find it. Here it is. So this is that's the packet with the screws and a couple of clips there. And there's everything we need to get the cable through the hull. Open that up. So there's our two clips, and we'll fit those probably up that way actually. We'll fit those after, and we'll just put them up there using the self-tapping screws, pretty much just to make it tidy. Might even just put one on this. So we'll take that off for now. Put them to the side. So now we're going to use a pilot hole to start with, and no, before we do that we are going to double check that this is going to have plenty of clearance. So that's our cable holder. That's the hole there we need to drill, that size. So not, it's a little bit bigger than the black part on the plug there. So that there will go inside the aluminium hull, and it goes upside down. So we're going to put that about there. Keep it clear of the drain from the boat. So we'll put it about there. And the first thing we're going to drill is the hole, that hole there. So we're going to do that. First of all, we are going to put, I reckon there. So we're going to nail punch. And we'll put a bit of a pilot hole through. And the good old step drill. Pretty sure this one's the one. Just lay it beside it there. Yeah, so if this one here goes all the way in, we're good. Check. Yeah, well clear of the bilge pump pipe. Right. We're just going to check that that fits in there. It's still too tight. Should be good now. Look at that, nice and tight. That to the side, so that's good now. That's about as good as it gets with that. So we've got that there. Now we're going to drill let's look sideways and make sure that's nice and square, which is good. If you keep that nice and tight, it's going to be easier to put the drill holes in the right place for the screws. So these screws are self-tappers, and they're going to be, I think they're 3mm or 3.5. We'll start with a 3mm. And we'll give it a fit. A little bit tight, go 3.5. Once again, go smaller before you go bigger. That's better. Right, so we know that one's good. Put some Tef gel on them when we silicone it all up. For now, that can just sit like that. As blunt as. Not very good at all. So we'll do that, then we'll fit the other screw in there. Sweet. Now we're going to put the cable in here. So we'll go ahead and lift that bracket off. Pull that bracket out. And then we're going to feed all of this cable through the hole. Clean all the swarf off. If it's sharp with your finger, it's too sharp, but that's good. So we'll just feed all of this cable through. Oh, transducer's taking a bit of a dive. Cable's getting a bit messy. Neighbours back to mowing the lawns. Pretty tough cables, but you obviously want to be a little bit careful. Don't kink it or anything. Don't kink it like that. Get rid of that. Right. So that's that there. I'm going to go and grab some silicone. Won't be a minute. Right, haven't got the silicone, so we will have to carry on without the silicone, and I'll have to do that later. So we'll now we'll fit the. Oh, it's got a planer going now. Awesome. So now we're going to fit this cable in here. So that's going to go in the slot, and then we're going to push that in where it was before. I'll have to come back and silicone this up after, but obviously if you're good enough to put a transducer on, you're good enough to silicone the hole up, but just make sure you put heaps and heaps of silicone in there till it's spewing out around all the edges, all the holes, so you want it coming out everywhere. Then let it set and clean it up with a blade. So right, we're going to have that. I'm going to do a loop with that. Until I'm happy with that. So that there goes in there. We want that to come down a bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to put one clamp right there. on the cable. Set up with the, might give this one a center punch actually, so we get it right. Looks good there, looks good there, so give that a whack. Put it out of the way. Use the sharp drill bit first. .3mm again, same as the 3.5, sorry. Right, so now we're good to go. We'll get some teeth gel on this. We're not fitting any screws to an aluminium boat, any stainless screws without teeth gel. Just suicide, they just start fizzing and corroding. It's just not worth it. I mean, this stuff's horrendously expensive because the Lanacoat product as well, it's pretty good. That little tube there is, I think it's $39 for 10 grams, but I fitted out a whole brand new boat with every screw with that, and this is about the second or third sounder that I've fitted. It's pretty much empty now. Keep that nice and straight. You can't do these up too tight because they distort that there, so you just sort of hold it and nip it. So that's our cable there, and that clip. Might give that a little bit more actually. Might give a little bit of slop there, and then that is going to go in there. So yeah, we'll silicone up the whole hole, pull that off, silicone up the whole thing, put silicone around the cable, put the whole thing on till it squeezes out everywhere, do it up tight, let it all set, and then trim it off with a Stanley blade. So that's pretty much that. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just ask below. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've done a couple of them now and they work pretty well. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel and like the video, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.